Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in our news.
$1 million has been set aside to research gaming addictions.
Bishop Simeon Hall weighs in on the alleged abduction of a young girl.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, Bahamas Power and Light has signed a contract with Finnish technology group Wärtsilä for installation of a new power plant at BPL's Clifton Pier site. BPL executives revealing today that the plant will cost nearly $100 million, as they also shut down concerns that the new plant could spell trouble for Shell North America, which has been given the go-ahead to build an LNG plant at Clifton Pier. Jasmine Brown reports.
The BPL executives revealed that the entire cost of the project will be around $95 million. However, they did not say how much of that money BPL would be paying. BPL CEO Whitney Hasty was pressed on the price tag during a press conference held at BPL's headquarters on Tucker Road on Monday morning. Hasty insisted that BPL will have some of the funds necessary to pay for the new plant. However, he refused to say what percentage of the $95 million will be paid by BPL.
When the fire happened in September of last year, in a way that's good, in as much as we were brand new in the fiscal year, and we were able to push aside a lot of the capital projects that we were planning on doing to make it possible, knowing that we would have to put in generation ahead of, to supplement the loss of the 63 megawatts that was lost on the Station C. So the money is actually coming from capital works that was deferred in favor of this new generation.
All of the money? All of the $95?
The great percentage of it is.
Can you say what percentage?
We won't get into those details.
Monday's announcement comes months after several fires damaged equipment at the Clifton Pier power plant, severely decreasing power generation at the plant. As for what the $95 million plant will entail, Wärtsilä business development specialist Edmund Phillips says the new plant will include a new 132-megawatt engine power plant. Phillips also said the new plant, which is expected to be completed by summer 2019, will be tri-fuel capable. That means it will be able to burn heavy fuel oil, diesel oil, and liquefied natural gas when it becomes available locally. Phillips also pointed out that all work will be managed by Wärtsilä, and the company will use local staff where needed.
We look in the local labor pool, and we cannot find the skill set required for the installation of the plant, then we'll have to bring in. But that's what's important here.
The announcement of the Wärtsilä plant comes 3 months after BPL signed a memorandum of understanding with Shell North America for a new generation and liquefied natural gas power plant by 2020. Hasty was asked how the new Wärtsilä deal will impact that. He insisted there would be no conflict or change of plans for the LNG plant, as he says it was Shell that recommended Wärtsilä to BPL.
No, it's actually fortified. I would have said last year, September, when the incident happened at Clifton Pier, we need to rely on our partner and the leveraging that Shell has in the marketplace. Shell has stepped up to the plate. They went out on our behalf. They said they took the lead in the tendering process, and they actually went out and made, through the selection process, a recommendation to BPL that Wärtsilä should be the company that should come in and put in this power. That relation has only been fostered or gotten stronger as a result of that.
Meanwhile, Hasty says once the project is completed, customers will see substantial improvement in the power generation reliability in New Providence and a lower fuel charge on their monthly bill. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, the family of an 8-year-old girl who was abducted from her Culmersville home is speaking out. The child's mother and sister telling our news that they feel lucky that their little girl is still alive.
She said the man said I could kill you. He asked if she want to live. My little sister smart. She said, yeah, I want to live. She said she want to go home.
The child's 38-year-old mother and 20-year-old sister whose names we won't reveal in order to protect the identity of the 8-year-old girl, were visibly shaken and angry when they spoke to the Nassau Guardian about the kidnapping on Monday morning. According to the mother, her children were awake and she was dancing and playing music on her phone in the wee hours of Sunday morning. She says a man knocked on the door of the family's home at around 2 a.m. Her 5-year-old daughter answered the door and was pushed away by a man who then took the 8-year-old girl.
By the time I reached by the door, my little girl running, crying, "Mommy," a man pushed me and he take Nana. I said, "What the heck are you saying?" When I look, the car speed off. And I run on me and my son, my little boy, we running.
The mother and daughter say their little girl was groped by the man after she was taken from the home. The women say the little girl was born with a rare genetic disease, but that didn't stop the man from hurting her. They also say they believe the man was watching the home prior to the incident.
The man is watching my house for a couple of days, and I wasn't even know. It was a white Lexus, a car, two-door. And that's what the same car she said, a white two-door. It's the one with carrier.
Police reported the incident to media at 11:45 on Sunday morning. That report stated that a 6-year-old girl was abducted from a home off Wilton Street and discovered a short time later in the area of Woodlawn Gardens Cemetery. The passerby who found the 8-year-old girl took her to the Wolf Road police station. While police stated that they were searching for the man responsible for taking the young girl, they added that a man was in custody assisting with the investigation.
That disgusting, nasty-looking man who took my sister, God is going to deal with him. She said the man is tall, black, and he's slim, and he's driver Lexus, two-door.
The 20-year-old sister says her friend was initially suspected as being involved. However, the family is convinced that he had nothing to do with the incident. This latest kidnapping follows the abduction of a 3-year-old boy by 2 women in the South Beach area. That child was eventually found outside a laundromat in Fox Hill. It also comes nearly 8 years after the disappearance and subsequent killing of 11-year-old Marco Archer.
I think the Lord is seeing like another Marco Archer, and my condolences to that family, because I know that family. Yeah. I know that family, my condolences. But I don't want it to be the same way with her, because the way that family feel, I think I would have feel worse. I think my world would have ended. I just could have been right behind her. My mommy and them know how I carry on, so.
The family says the hours that followed the kidnapping and discovery were extremely traumatic, and they feel lucky that their little girl is still alive. Her 9-year-old brother, who chased the vehicle in the street at 2 a.m., says he will do all he can to protect the family home.
But I get all these chair, put it by that door, because I don't want to go park with that door and go onto the man again.
For this man to come and put his hand on my little sister Nyaka from this door.
He's a demon.
More than a demon. That man, he deserved, God forgive me, deserved to die, because kids ain't nothing to be playing with.
Now, police also revealed that the man that they had in custody has been released. Moving on now, just 2 weeks following a confirmed case of measles in a 4-year-old tourist, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands has confirmed that the child's sibling has also tested positive for the disease.
We now can confirm that the brother of the first patient developed signs and symptoms of measles, but that child was quarantined and has posed no threat to any additional person.
The ministry confirmed the first case of measles on February 18th when health officials revealed that a child was brought into a private healthcare facility in New Providence with fever, red eyes and rash. The parents gave a recent history of travel from Europe and a vaccination history for the child, which did not include the measles, mumps, rubella immunization. Measles is an acute viral illness transmitted by respiratory droplets. The illness is characterized by the onset of fever and malaise, cough, and conjunctivitis, followed by a distinctive rash. Gambling addiction has been compared to cocaine and heroin abuse, and it's with that in mind that the Ministry of Health held a problem gambling and addiction awareness seminar. In order to assist, the Bahamas Gaming Operators Association pledged $1 million to help combat the problem. Jillian Gray reports.
Now, Bahamas Gaming Operators Association chairman said they've already put methods in place to help families who may have been affected by an addiction to gaming. He said they've also looked into claims that children may be using those online websites to game.
And there was a question raised in Grand Bahama, how do we deal with kids who go on their tablets, their cell phones, and they may have access to certain activities? And my response to that question was simply this: that's not a gaming issue. My call to parents today is, please take the time out to know what your kids are navigating on the internet. When you give them your cell phone in the car and you think they're watching Peppa Pig or Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, be careful that they're not watching something else.
At least $1 million will be set aside to help web shop patrons suffering from gambling addiction, according to Bahamas Gaming Operators Association CEO Gershon Major. Last year, the BGOA allocated those funds to treat addiction, but that was derailed by the contentious negotiations with the government over a controversial sliding scale tax for web shop owners.
Due to the challenging discussions around the tax matters that related to our industry, we had to refocus somewhat those allocations. Now that that matter is settled, we are now back to 2019 with the new budget being currently revisited.
Major said the funds would be used to educate the public, create awareness about addiction, and strengthen partnerships with healthcare professionals who will be trained to treat gambling addiction. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands compared gambling to cocaine and heroin abuse. He did not say how much the government will spend on this new program, but noted it will be included in PHA's budget.
We have had to modify our approach to incorporate the management of this new ailment into our mental health programs. Now, in terms of the budget, the gaming houses are supposed to set aside a certain amount of money every year for this problem. And I want to find out exactly how much they've set aside. I've heard the figure $1 million, and we now need to know how that money is being spent. Certainly from the Ministry of Health, is all a part of our PHA budget.
The program will extend to Grand Bahama and the Family Islands. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Following the recent abduction of 2 children, former Christian Council President Bishop Simeon Hall is calling for the quick rollout of Marco Alert. Georgie O'Bain reports.
Bishop Simeon Hall is calling on the Minister of National Security to fast-track Marco's alert, given the alleged kidnapping and abduction of 2 small children. Hall said the time to get it sorted out is now.
Both governments have been, in my opinion, rather slow with the Marco law implementation. The implementation of this proposed Marco law is taking far too long.
Hall said the life of Marco Archer must be honored by implementing the alert system so that what happened to him never happens to another child in the Bahamas. Hall said as a parent and a grandparent, recent incidents have been terrifying.
We must remember that when a child is traumatized on any level, that child bears that scar for the rest of his or her life. And even after the perpetrator comes out of prison, if he is caught and convicted, that child bears that scar.
According to Hall, it is time to send a strong message to those preying on small children before it becomes a trend.
One can only imagine what it is for a little girl to be abducted and then put in a graveyard. What kind of cruel animal do we have around this place? Give me a break. So I'm saying, let's band together, nip it in the bud.
Minister of National Security Marvin Dames announced recently that he expects Marco's alert to be rolled out by summer. Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Still to come on Our News, BPL CEO tight-lipped on a probe into recent fires. Plus, find out why UB is partnering with police and prison officers. Stay tuned.